Good morning and welcome along to another episode of Tannadice Tales from Dundee United. Jack, good morning. Thank you for being along already. And thank you to so many of you for the thumbs up too. John, good morning from a sunny and cold Dumfries. It's not much better in Luton down south in England. But thank you all for being here. Thank you for the thumbs up before we started. Lovely to have you all along. For this important Saturday morning, I think it's fair to say, in this live stream series, we start the morning with a cup final, and we'll get into that in the next few minutes. I'll give people a couple to come on in, but we've got Paul Smith cup tied, and other than that, we've essentially got a full squad to choose from. Now, the problem we have today, as we go and get into this, is that we've been in very good form. We're doing exceptionally well. You can see we're back in a race for the top three with Aberdeen. You can see that we've already done well in Europe against Mulder, and we're now through with a game to spare due to other results. Mark, good morning. Thank you for popping in. Lovely to have you along this morning. And the problem really is that everything's going a bit too well, which means in a big game, in the League Cup final, surely if there's ever going to be a bottle or a time where it goes wrong, that's going to be it. So I'm a little bit apprehensive, despite the fact all of the build-up to this has been brilliant. So let me know what you think, whether we're going to be able to win the final. Hamilton, a side with a top-class striker, and right behind us in the league as well. They've really started well. They had a great season 2 years ago, pipping us to third, had a poor year last year, and they're on the way back this time. So plenty for them to enjoy as well. The big news for us really is because we're through in the Europa League, we can actually rest everyone against Lyon in midweek. So we've got an opportunity to try and make the most of this, if nothing else. So thank you to everyone that's coming along and who was waiting before we started. It's greatly appreciated. I hope you're looking forward to this. I'm a little bit nervous about the final, but of course, there's plenty to be excited about. The fact we're here to start with is a great thing. But I guess we have got to look at the other side of that, which is we've not always done well in a big game. So I think that would be a polite way of putting it. A fully fit squad, though, a warm-up to the January transfer window where we could be able to attract bigger names, better stars. It's all looking pretty good, and I don't want to get too excited with that too early. But thank you to everyone that's in as always. It is a massive appreciation for me. I do appreciate you being here before we even start. Just having a few of you waiting is a very, very comforting and confidence boosting thing for me. But we've got a big game, so there's no point delaying it much longer. There's a tiny little bit of transfer news. And I don't think, even though we've got to the 10th of December, we've yet had our youth intake preview. So there's nothing on that front to talk about yet. But let me talk to you about the transfer news. All of which relates to one of the players who was transfer listed in Jack Byrne. So we accepted a few offers for him because he's out of contract at the end of the season. He's decided to reject them all though. It included Sheffield Wednesday, Ipswich and Hull, all for just under £1 million. But he looks like he wants to stay here for some reason. Let's have a look at the clauses because there's a few players we can sell on there. So Nathan Baxter, he's not going to play for West Ham, is he? So let's just take the money for that. £8,000. Logan Chalmers, 30% sell on from Hamilton Academical. 30% of the profit, sorry. So 130 grand, I think is a pretty good deal for that. And then Finn Malcolm's a 50%. I don't know, is he ever going to develop? He's not really played for them. Another one that went to Hamilton. I forgot we sold half of our team to them. Maybe that's why they're doing well this year. But we'll sell that as well, just bringing a bit of extra money. Thank you to everyone coming in as well. Jack, do any of your players not like big games in their scout reports? I'd have to assume a few of them because they've not always delivered on the big occasions. Let's have a look at some of the stars, just because they're the ones that we're going to be reliant on. So, in terms of the scout reports. So, Lawrence Shankland apparently enjoys them. Matt O'Reilly doesn't enjoy them. So here's a player who's been our superstar this year. He's not looking forward to it. Dembele, big games, he enjoys them. So it's a bit of a mixed bag, to be honest, Jack, looking at it. Mokri, I can't see anything about him. So I'm guessing he's balanced, because there's nothing to say he loves the big games, and there's nothing to say he despises them. Stevie Mallon has been in great form and enjoys the big games. Ali McCann enjoys the big games. So I tell you what, we've got more than we used to have. I'll give him that. Jason Curzin, he enjoys them. What about the big man in goal? Benji Siegrist, he's the key man, isn't he? He doesn't enjoy them or hate them. So Benjamin Siegrist is the one we've got our eyes on. If ever there's going to be a mistake, it's probably coming from him. Let's be brutally honest. Thank you to all the extras coming in as well. If you haven't yet, please do chuck a thumbs up on it. It does make such a difference and, of course, helps people find us as always. Mark, what will it take to break the old firm? I'm 2 seasons in with Hibs and comfortable in third, but can't keep up the pace. I don't know, to be honest. I look at this save, to be honest, and think if I don't do it this year, we're probably not going to, because it's very tight early on. With our tactical tweaks from last Tuesday's episode, we are getting there. There's only 4 points between the top 4. So perhaps that's our opportunity. It's unheard of that after 14, 15 games, Celtic and Rangers have dropped that many points. Celtic have dropped 9, Rangers have already dropped 13. So perhaps this is the year. But I don't really know other than consistency, not selling on your players, but look at the board. They sold Chris Mockery off me. I didn't get the opportunity to keep him. So those sort of things make it very difficult. But otherwise, I don't know because I haven't managed to do it. We got quite close last year within a game or two. Just didn't work out in the end. So let me go and take you through the results off camera very quickly before we get into the final. We've played 4 games as we said we would. They were basically the bankers against the sides that we battered earlier in the year. And although we won them, some of them weren't quite as comfortable. So we beat Falkirk 3-1, Shankland and an O'Reilly brace before a consolation after the hour mark. A comfortable 4-0 win at home to Inverness, Ali McCann, a Shankland brace and Stevie Mallon. The same result away at Moulder, O'Reilly with 2, Dembele and Shankland with 1 apiece. And then against Dunfermline, we relied on Dembele magic in the second half. It wasn't a great display. Defensively, we were tested and we had to be pretty good. But he managed to stop us in the end. So we're happy enough with that. And we stay on the winning run. You can see the form we're in is stunning. Which means this is where it's going to go wrong, surely. The last domestic game we didn't win was against Hamilton Academical, who are today's opponents in the final. Benjamin Siegrist is starting, Jacob. I knew you'd be in and excited for that. Yeah, Mark, their budgets are another level. That's the thing. Because they've got players worth 20, 30 million at the start, they can just have a net transfer spend of nothing and improve hugely. So it really is quite difficult to break them. But maybe winning competitions gives us a chance. If we hadn't gone out to Shamrock in the Europa Conference last year, perhaps we'd have had a chance. And maybe this year, because with 1 game to go, we've already qualified for the Europa League last 32. Maybe if we get a lucky draw there and throw another round, that gives us a chance. We're not going to win the Scottish Cup because we've got Rangers in the first round that we're in. So really, it's all hinged on this game. It's our one opportunity to realistically win a trophy this year. It's Dundee United v Hamilton Academical. So let's go in and have a look at the tactic that we've gone for today. Matt O'Reilly is competing with Lawrence Shankland for top scorer up front. He really is that good this season and he's absolutely flying. So he's got an opportunity to do something very special. Siegrist in goal is now officially rated the worst player in the 11. In the recruitment meeting we had a week or so ago, our director of football said we need to look at replacing him because he's the weak link in the squad. So that's exactly what we're going to try and do. But look at the average ratings the last 5 games, even over the season. This team, since we tweaked the tactic for the last 6 or 7 games, so we have 4 off camera and 4 on it on Tuesday, they've been sublime. They've been almost faultless. But the 11 we've gone for today is as followed. The weak list Siegrist in goal. We've got Brookin and Mitchell the fullbacks with Mengi and Jason Kerr at centre half. McCann and Mallon in the middle. Robertson, not been in as good a form. Basically, he went off in the November international break and played for the under-21s. He didn't really get a lot of football, but he was off the bench in all of them and had a heavy match load. So as a result, we've gone and rested him. And he didn't get back in because Mallon was on fire. He also doesn't say he enjoys the big games, whereas Mallon and McCann both do. They're in the middle with Dembele, O'Reilly, Mockery in the attacking midfield positions, and Lawrence Shankland on 13 goals now up front. And we could really do with another one today. Jacob, you've kiboshed it now. If that happens, you're at fault for the rest of this series. Siegrist to give Hamilton the winner in the 94th minute. And if it's that Andrew Winter up front again who keeps scoring against us, I'll be mortified. But I wouldn't put it past our dear Benji Siegrist. We have got game changers on the bench. Finley's a quality centre-half. Devaney's a solid fullback. Mikey Johnston's back from injury. We know Darren Watson can score goals. Holsgrove and Robertson were squad improvements in the summer. So we have got better opportunities if we do get the chance off the bench. Just Paul Smith missing out. He was cup-tied, having played early on in the season. Mark, Dundee United tactical special on its way. Well, I have sort of planned something with Dundee United because this is the same tactic to an extent that we use with Southampton and that we use with Derby. and we've used it in 3 completely different ways. So I wanted to, I'm not quite sure how I'm going to work it yet, so it'll probably be delayed a week, but I'm not quite sure how to do an episode or structure it to show the same formation and how it can be used in so many different ways. But that's something I'm working on. John, come on, Benji. He needs a big game today. We can't have Benji Siegrist bottling it here. Kamashin, welcome from Croatia. To Davy Cyprus. Well, hopefully they'll learn their lesson from midweek and start Simon Sluger, our goalkeeper at Luton, because he's the man who will do the job. Jack Siegrist to win it with 2 saves in a penalty shootout. We'll take that any day of the week. Although I'd rather it not get to penalties. Thank you to everyone coming in. We're well into double figures now for the big game. If you haven't yet, please do chuck a thumbs up on it. We're almost in double figures. Before we get into the final, a quick thanks to Dylan from midweek for the super chat as well, which did make a difference. But let's go and get into it. Everyone's in now. It's time for the League Cup final in Scotland. Dundee United v Hamilton Academical. You know the lineup. So how's it going to go? Let's get into it and find out. A lot of your Benjamin Siegrist predictions in already. Let's see how many of them are right, shall we? Hopefully, it'll be for the better. We'll be able to get a positive result. So one change from the last match, which is Robertson dropping back out for Ali McCann. We've got to close down Andrew Winter, who is without doubt the Hamilton star. And I'm actually quite nervous about this one. Don't forget, we won the League Cup in the first season against Celtic. We had a stunning final performance. And after that, we've just dropped off a cliff. And this is the first chance we've really had since then. We've been favourites since the last 16, where Celtic and Rangers both went out. And Andrew Winter, the skipper, is the man trying to stop us. We've got a former Dundee head coach hero in Hakeem Adoffin at right back against us. There's some decent players in the squad, but let's be honest. The 2 first 11s, we've got the better one. And there's no doubt in that whatsoever. So into it we go. We're going to prove to everyone that we're winners. We've got everyone motivated, bar Dembele and Shankland. Both of those, he said, enjoyed big games as well. So as we get through the tunnel interview and into the first half at Hampden, surely this has to be a positive result. Kamashin, young goalkeeper from Croatia, is Adrian Semper and Ivan Nevistic, But are they better than Simon Sluger? That's the question. Because he started awfully at Luton as he was settling into the country. It's been a revelation of last year, genuinely. I worry that he'll go to a Premier League club this summer. He's been that good. Into it we go then. Hampden is pretty well populated. But Hamilton have gone for the narrow diamond, which is one of our specials here. So I'm not sure whether that'll work out. Now we've changed to the wide tactic. As Martin flicks on the goal kick for them. Mengi picks it up at centre-half. Plays it out to Dembele. Just 3 minutes or so on the clock. The right-back's flying forward Brookin to overlap. But Dembele's going alone. Beats one man. Beats a second. Back to Brookin. And his ball in's poor. It's headed away to Winter. Oh, not like this already. Mengi's been beaten. He's got into the box, Winter. 2 with him. He goes alone. And thankfully, he puts the shot wide. But no pressure on him in the challenge at all. Absolutely awful. And we somehow survive it. Mark, what tips do you have to build those relationships between players? It's mostly consistency in my experience. I tried lots of different things before. Like I'd always thought maybe if they're in mentoring groups, maybe if they're playing in their natural roles and duties. And actually none of that's worked out really. My only thing has been playing them consistently together as Dembele nicks the ball high up the pitch. Gets into the box. Got to be a pen. He got the ball, but it was well after the man. And Lawrence Shankland has a chance now. 15 minutes on the clock at Hampden Park. Dundee United have the chance to take the lead. Big game player Lawrence Shankland rattles it into the top corner. That is a brilliant penalty under pressure. 1-0 Dundee United. The League Cup final is in our control. Absolutely perfect start. Jacob, last few minutes in the cup final. Siegrist with the ball and Hamilton has scored. I hope it won't get to that. Let's make sure we've got a 2 or 3 goal lead so we don't need to worry. As Brookin delivers towards Shankland, Hallkit heads away. Did better there than he did on the floor when he conceded the penalty. Mitchell to Mokri though. Challenges beating him, but he's only cleared as far as Dembele. Comes out of the ball from the clearance. Wide to Brookin, into the box. Hamilton heads away. Oh, the defenders missed it. Now it's a 3-on-3. We're in trouble here. Martin down the left side of the box. Don't foul him, please. Back to Minor. Got time to shoot from distance into Winter, the star striker. Back to Yates, out to Harvey. We can't concede. Don't let a shot of Siegrist. Harvey in the left side of the box. McCann's beaten. Oh, he's given a penalty. You're joking. It's another one. 2 penalties in 25 minutes. They've not got the right referee for this final, have they? Winter steps up. Siegrist does nothing. A chance to be a hero is gone. And both of the centre forwards have scored. But 2 penalties in 25 minutes. And the referee somehow has made himself star of the cup final. Incredibly. Kamashin, how about a match? Dinamo Zagreb v Tottenham. Oh, it was a brilliant game. Really good performance from Dinamo. Wonderful hat-trick. A couple of brilliant goals in there as well. But exactly what European football should be. No one gave them a chance. As Harvey back to Yates on the edge of the... Oh, no. Benjamin Siegrist has let one sneak under him. Jacob, I'm never going to forgive you for this. Not in a million years. Oh, it's awful goalkeeping. Right, squirming under him. Really should have got there. It was near enough down the middle. And Hamilton, you can see the confidence now. We're going to berate them because they've been awful the last 10 minutes. But still, the goals, it should have been saved the second one. The first one, a bit of refereeing hoodoo there. But here's Yates coming down the middle again. Scored that second goal out to a Dauphin. And we could be out of this by half time. They're going to score again here. Phillips is in. It's 3-1 Hamilton. How does this happen? Every big game, you've seen, we went through them. Nearly everyone, as it got, enjoys the big matches. The team has won 7 or 8 in a row. They're on fire. They've not conceded a goal barely in God knows how long. And then this happens. You can't write it. And Jacob, you've just summed it up perfectly. No game is in complete control with Benjamin Siegrist between the sticks. He can't be at fault for the first or third, but he gave them the lead. Yeah, Orsic, brilliant hat-trick. The Villarreal game will be interesting. There's some really good quarter-finals there as well. So that's going to be an interesting one. Thank you to everyone coming in. If you haven't yet, please do chuck a thumbs up on it. We're only one away from double figures and we're 45 minutes away from heartache again. I don't understand it. Jacob, I'd be confident as a striker seeing Siegrist on the team sheet. Mark, I think you are right on that, yeah, as well. It's a bit of a messy situation. And the fact that it hasn't been dealt with quickly means that it's just going to unravel. I don't know what to say to these boys. Apparently we're not berating them. Matt O'Reilly's nervous. They said he wasn't a big game player. But we've got to get a goal in the first 15 here. Brookin throws it into O'Reilly. Chance to cross in towards Shankland. Hawkett heads away as far as Mallon. To Tyrick Mitchell. Shots in. Straight at the keeper. And this time, because it's at the other end, Smith doesn't let it through him. He just saves it. And he distributes well as well. Flicked on by Phillips to Martin. This is too easy. Into the box he goes. Siegrist makes the save eventually. I don't know why he jumped towards his far post and then dived back across, but it worked on this occasion. As Minor's got the corner kick. Outswinger. Headed away at the back post by Mengi. But there's not really any hope here. It is all Hamilton. I don't understand where the form has gone. I mean, if you look at the expected goals, it's pretty much even, which shows the shot that Siegrist let in really shouldn't have gone in. We're going to demand more. We're going to push. We're going to go attacking. But I don't see where we get into this game. I really don't. I'm going to take Matt O'Reilly off for Jordan Holsgrove. Robertson on for Ali McCann, who's had a poor game. And Mockery replaced by Mikey Johnston, who's motivated. It's the only opportunity we've got, really. But all of the big game players aren't performing. None of the team really is. And a team that's winning every game, that enjoys the big matches, is now playing like this. Kamashin, let's go Dundee United. I think it's in vain, unfortunately. I must be cheating. Using the FM editor, Siegrist save one. They're dominating the half. I don't actually know what to do with 10 minutes to go. They've gone 5-4-1. They've stifled us perfectly. But what do you say, really? The way these games work out, all sorts of form is written off for a cup final. All of the big moments go as well. But we've just got to push now. So instructions, we're going to go direct. We're going to go higher tempo. We're going to get the ball in early. We'll be more expressive as well, I guess. We'll run at the defence more. We've just got to try and get forward. The attacking width can be mixed. I've got no worries with that. But you just know it's going to happen. You get the sense. Winning so many games in a row. Having all these big game players that are going to be at their best. Having a week's rest before it. And then this performance comes along. There's no surprise that Benji Siegrist has the joint worst rating of the cup final. And the Hamilton Academical will get to lift the trophies. And I tell you what, Mark, you asked it earlier. This is why we're not going to win or break the old firm, because we're not consistent enough. We've not got the bottle when it comes to the big occasions. And unfortunately, it's not good enough. Hamilton Academical win the cup final. And the one chance we had at a trophy is gone. Greenie, thank you for popping in. I'm glad you're here to watch my despair as we lose the cup final. Sub Segrist off. I wish I could, but we had to go attacking. We had to go for the big names. I don't really know what to say about that. How has it come to this? After the perfect start, a team in perfect form, and if we go back and start winning every game again now, I'll probably be even more annoyed. But it's things like that that make me want to leave the club, because I realise that we're never going to get to that level. Thank you to everyone popping in as well. It really is greatly appreciated. Dylan, good morning. Thank you for coming in. I hope you're enjoying it. Greenie, thank you. You're too kind, pal. Appreciate the super chat. It's nice of you to come on in. And thank you for your kind support. Dylan, good morning. Greenie, thank you very much. Even though you are supporting the Ackies, I should be angry. I can't when you're doing that. It's very kind of you. Thank you so much to everyone coming in as well. Lovely to have so many of you here. We're in double figures for views and thumbs up already. It is greatly appreciated at this stage. And a massive thank you for your support as always. It's always incredible. Jacob, I reckon with a decent keeper, you stand a chance of breaking the old firm. I think January's our last chance to get it. Because at the moment, we're going to lose to Lyon because we're going to rest everyone. We have to. There's nothing to play for. And then we're starting to play the likes of Hibs and Aberdeen again, the bigger sides. And that's surely where it starts to go wrong again. So we should be able to start flying through the next 3 games now. But that isn't the best start at all, is it? Not what we were hoping for. Thank you to Greenie for the super chat. Thank you to everyone for coming in and for your support as always. It is greatly appreciated. And hopefully you continue to enjoy what's probably a pretty painful experience for me. What I will quickly say while you're all here, and I apologise in advance for the shameless plug, over Easter at some point I am going to try a test stream on Twitch because a few people have asked me to try it. And I don't really know what the differences are, so I'm just going to have a go and see what it's like. So if any of you want to check it out, I'll post the link here now and you can go and follow it and you'll get updates when we're going. If you don't, it doesn't matter. It's not going to change any of the videos here. It will be on top of rather than instead of. So all of it continues here, but I'll send the link through quickly in a moment. And hopefully we can bounce back with Dundee United, because otherwise, no matter what we're doing, I'm going to be in an absolute strop. But fingers crossed I won't need that and we'll be able to bounce back. But again, as Mark says, this becomes the sort of problem when you're managing in Scotland. If you're not Rangers or Celtic, your limit ends up being 3rd. The problem with that is, at this point, we've got nothing to play for. We're playing to finish 3rd or 4th. That's all we're doing at the moment. So let's have a look at the job centre. Is there anything appealing going? Hang on a minute. The Charlton job in League 1 is available. The favourite is Brendan Rodgers. He got sacked in the first season at Leicester and has not had a club since. Surely he's not going to League 1. They've got secure finances and Phil Neville in charge. I wonder if they've had like a tycoon again. Wouldn't be the first, would it? I don't think we've got a big enough reputation, but they've got Morgan Whittaker up front, who's a hero from our head coach series. I wouldn't mind a go with them. I saw Bristol Rovers in the Championship as well, rooted to the bottom. How far adrift? A long way. So we probably wouldn't be able to keep them up in truth, which would lead to another problem in itself. Who is their star player? Benson. There he is. He's a decent footballer. But I always end up looking for jobs here because we just end up in this same sort of merry-go-round of not being able to get out of the situation we're in. Right, I'll post the Twitch link in as well. So if you want to go and follow that, we will do a live stream over Easter at some point as a test. And we might do a little additional series on there moving forward later in the year. Thank you to everyone for coming in. Thank you to Greenie for the super chat. Jacob, how do you feel in the immediate wake of such a disappointing match? What do you expect? Only have Segrist in goal. Do you know what still annoys me to this day? Was it last January or the January before? Where he rejected going to West Ham for £3 million? I'll never forgive him for that. We could have got one hell of a keeper for that rate. I'll tell you what, let's go to our director of football and suggest goalkeepers. See what he comes up with. Nick Pope from Palace is on 54 grand a week. I don't quite see how we can get him. David von Balmus from Young Boys of Switzerland. Do I want another Swiss keeper after Benji Siegrist? I don't want to stereotype them all, but he could do enough to put me off for a generation. And there's one from New York City FC, a good Croatian keeper. There you go. Adrian Semper. He was mentioned earlier on in the chat. But he's on 50 grand a week, so I don't see how these are realistic targets, but we'll go and scout them anyway. Thank you to everyone popping in as always. Lovely to have you here this morning. Thank you for all the thumbs up and the support. It's lovely to have such an active live chat. But obviously we have started in disappointment and there's nothing that's going to change that. Do I get Xander Clark back in goal? I don't know. I feel like I might have to. Let's go and get through the Lyon game because that's going to be a backup side. We're already guaranteed second. They've already won the group. There's no point us worrying about that match too much. But then the 2 in 3 days against Aberdeen and Hibs, we need to be back at our best. And if that doesn't happen, we could be in a spot of bother yet again. So let's see what the youngsters can do. Oh, it's even more bad news. Everything started so well on Tuesday. We get to the final and then this. We've lost the cup final. Siegrist produced one of his classics. We've now got a very poor crop of players for our youth intake. That's made my mind up. This is going to be towards the end of the Dundee United sales because we've got to move on. I don't think our reputation is anywhere near big enough because we've lost another cup final. We've only got a 1.5 star reputation. So rather than looking for a big club, we're probably looking for a club where we can progress. I mean, there's teams like Grimsby who are flying in League One. I mean, the way they're going at the moment, they'll be lucky to be in the Football League next season in real life. Who's their star player there at centre-half? Not great by League One standards, in truth. There's no top-tier Northern Irish jobs going. Oh, I don't know. I'm just hoping someone will come and approach us, but technically we're not meeting our expectations. Jacob, you never know. Semper might take a pay cut from 51 to 1 grand a week. I wish. Dylan Salford is available. It's interesting that because we managed them in the head coach last year. So there's one key thing that matters about Salford. And let's go and have a look at it. And it's the same problem that managers are encountering in real life. Who is the director of football? Because if it's still Chris Casper, is there one there? No, he's not there. Right, Salford might be worth a go because Chris Casper has gone by the looks of it. He's gone off to Wickham. So it might actually be a possible job. Should we go and have a look at their squad? Because they're 7th in League 2. They've got Carl Jenkinson in the squad. In League 2. Let me go and very quickly have a look at who was their last manager. And did he get sacked or leave? So there's my problem again. And it's very similar to Salford in real life. Darren Sarr was sacked with the club in 7th place. In the playoffs. And not far off the automatic promotion places. Only 10 points off the top of the league. So are we going to get a fair crack at the whip if we go there? Probably not. They don't actually look like a great squad in truth. So Salford's probably off the cards as well. I don't think any of those jobs there are hugely appealing. Or clubs that we haven't managed before. So I think what we'll do is we'll just leave it. But we'll keep an eye on it as we go along. Thank you to everyone popping in as well. Lovely to have you here following the disappointment of losing a cup final. We will be actively seeking jobs as we move forward. And tonight, against big opponents in Lyon, in a meaningless game, Xander Clark is going to get the chance to become number 1 again. Why didn't I play him in the cup final? Mentally, he's much stronger. The defence will be completely changed. The whole team will be, in truth. Nielsen, Finley, Boys. Young Stephen Dunn will be on the bench, as will young Ray Milligan. And they'll get a chance in Europe too. In midfield, we've got Glenn Ray. We have got... Who's fit out of the midfield 3? I think McCann's in the worst form, so I probably have to start him. He'll go in there. Up front, we've got Darren Watson. We know that one's settled. And then Mikey Johnston, Paul Smith, and Jordan Holsgrove. Substitutes, Jack Byrne, Michael Duffy, who's another one that often gets in. Everyone else has got a heavy match load, I think. So what we'll do is we'll go to the under-18s, or the reserves, and we'll just pick the best players. So Newman can be the sub-keeper. He's still improving down there. Might well work his way back in. Nathan Cooney's done okay as a youngster. And for the rest of them, let's just have a look at the reports. 1.5 star is the best there. And in the under-18s, pretty similar really. McCord at left back has a decent potential. So let's just put him in there. It's not going to make a huge difference tonight, is it? It's Dundee United v Leon. And all we are doing is making sure that we've rested everyone for the weekend. So fingers crossed we can get a positive result. Jacob not even playing Siegrist in this game. I wouldn't have anyway, to be fair. I would have fully rotated. But what I'm wishing now is that I'd done it the other way round. But hindsight's a lovely thing, isn't it? Let's go and get into the first game. Or the final game of the Europa League group stage. The first game of a big run for us. And we've just got to keep the score down here. In fact, we will drop to balanced. Just try and make it as sustainable as possible. As Nielsen plays out from the back. Don't forget in the first game, we did take the lead against them before losing 4-1. This could be hilarious. Oh, Clark saves the day. Almost a comical goal to concede. Jack, I'd say finish this strong European run before you move on. It will add a lot to your reputation and you may get some decent money. I really agree with the theory of that, Jack, but last season we had the same thought and then we lost to Shamrock Rovers in the Europa Conference last 32 or last 16. And I can't bank on this side to do anything. Don't forget we won't be seeded as runners-up for the last 32. But I guess we can judge it after this game on what draw we get, can't we? If we get an awful draw, then we can just sort of move on at that point. We've had loads of shots here against Leon, but none of them really great chances. But they've got a good side. I don't know why both games we've played them, Maitland-Niles has been centre-half. But aside from that, it's been a cracker. Thank you to everyone coming in as always and for the thumbs up. Please do chuck one on there if you haven't already. A massive thank you for your support as always and to Greenie for the super chat. I will say today for the head coach, I'm not going to spoil it for this afternoon's episode, but it's an interesting one. There's a landmark moment I think we need to describe it as. A massive episode and the next couple of the head coach are really going to be juicy. And for those of you who are fans of Benjamin Siegrist, particularly after his antics today, he features bizarrely, only briefly, but he features in tomorrow's Bangor City episode, which I never thought I'd be saying at any point in that series. So this weekend is sort of a really big moment for my channel. I'm really looking forward to it. They're episodes that I've absolutely loved for very different reason. So it'll be interesting to say the least. Thank you for the extra thumbs up as well. Jacob, wait till Dundee United draw Bayern Munich in the knockout stages after they finish third in the group. We can't finish third. We can't finish third. So we're definitely qualified. Besiktas, we've got the better head-to-head record, so they can't catch us. But at the moment, I don't quite know how this is happening. We're dominating this game against Leon. They've got Sergio Aguero up front, Victor Lindelof at centre-half, Lucas Torreira in centre midfield. And we've dominated the chances, albeit we haven't scored any of them. But look at our team. How on earth's that happening? As Boys is surging down the left. I think it's just the tactic. We've traditionally done well against the back threes. As it's cleared away by Jordao as far as Dehaney. He gets it on the wing. Chance to cross in. And he's knocked down by Watson. Back to Dehaney again. Is that a penalty? No, it's cleared downfield. Nothing doing. Lucas Paqueta clears it. But Boys picks it up to Dehaney. How are we dominating this match? It just bends the laws of science. McCann through to Johnston. That is stunning. Dundee United lead Leon with a backup side. I don't know anymore. Don't ask any questions. I can't answer them. I have absolutely no idea how any of that's happened. But with 20 minutes to go, we lead. As Johnston gets it on the left, challenged by Torreira. I wanted to take Ray off because he's on a booking and not playing that well and not that fit. But we've got to see out this highlight now. As they pick it up in the middle, it's going towards that area of the pitch. Don't foul him. He beats him instead. Edwards goes for the shot wide. Let's make a couple of changes. So Glenn Ray will be off. Haven't actually got any first teamers, have I? So it will be Jack Byrne. Holsgrove will drop in. Byrne will go number 10. Watson up front hasn't had the best game. So Duffy on for him. Smith up front. And Duffy out to the right-hand side. And we'll save the last one. Because now, this actually could be a huge confidence boost if we can get a result here. Charlie, welcome in. You've missed the heartbreak already today. But thank you for popping in as always. Is Nicky Butt going to be next Preston manager? See, I don't know about this. Because when Nicky Butt left United, given the symmetry, I was so sure it was going to be for the Salford job. Obviously, he's part owner there as well. There's a small chance they could be in the same league next year as well, albeit unlikely. So I don't really know. I really think the Preston manager will be Ainsworth, but from the end of the season. But I don't know. Nothing surprises me anymore. But I still think it's more likely Nicky Butt will be... Oh, dear. Oh, he's missed Torreira. The offside flag's up, but Xander Clark had a bit of a moment there. But yeah, I still think Butt's more likely to be the Salford manager. I've got one change left. We're going to use it as a time-wasting one. We'll take off Holsgrove in centre mid for... Oh, we haven't got a centre mid. So it'll be Johnston off the left for... Can't do that either, can we? Let's put Smith out to the left-hand side and bring on Ray Milligan up front. That'll be the final change. But I think we're about to beat Leon's first team. Someone explain that. 8 wins in a row. Big game players. Lost to Hamilton Academical. And now Leon win. Man of the match was Morgan Boys. And second close behind him was Xander Clark. Oh, that keeper selection is going to haunt me for the rest of my career. We finish on 12 points. We do brilliantly in the Europa League. And we'll have to draw in this episode as well. But my words, somebody tell me how that's happened. Jacob, I know you've qualified, but if you get the biggest team... Oh, yes, I see what you mean. The third team's in the Champions League group. Should we go and have a quick look, actually, before the draw? We'll see who's finished third in the Champions League groups. Jacob, why don't you try and get a job at one of the Premier League clubs under 23s or 18s? That's not a bad idea, you know. Can you do that? I thought you could only do that with international teams. Can you do that in the game? I've never known that, genuinely. Because that could change the head coach forever. Mark Butt to assist Keane at Celtic. Wouldn't be a huge surprise. Well, a lot of money going in there. About £1 million altogether. But we've missed out on a trophy, so all the other stuff's lovely, but it's not enough, really. Dylan, you might have taught me something magical, because I thought we could only do that as an international manager. Let's have a look. Filter. It's got reserve and youth teams there. So, mate, yeah, you must be right. Genuinely, I always thought it was only the internationals you could manage the youth sides. The head coach could look very different next year. Oh, so are we sure? I don't know if we're sure we can do it. I wonder. I'm going to have a look at that off camera after the episode. Because that's a very interesting point. I've never thought. Oh, you can't take over under 23s. I agree with Mark and Dylan. It'd be a fantastic addition. You can do it at international level. So it would make sense to be able to do it at the first team level too. £1 million to go towards a replacement for Segrist. Yes, please. I will spend the whole budget on a Segrist replacement. I don't know if we've had any of them scout reports yet. Should we just see who the best rated keeper is in our scout reports? Obviously, we don't use the player search screen here. I've still got my eye on Ross McCrory, to be brutally honest. I don't know if he signed a new contract yet or if he's still got that release clause. He has. Because he's one big improvement to the team. Particularly when Robertson's loan ends at the end of this season. Who's Ryan Gould wanted by? Inter. Right, that's him out of our sort of stratosphere for a long time. I'm still annoyed we didn't get that Yassine Claude in the summer. What a player he was. 18 years of age. If we'd have signed him, that would have been something different. Right, let's get the goalkeepers in here. There's not many good ones. Not with current ability, anyway. I don't know why nobody can find a good goalkeeper. Even Jack Butland and that are rated poorly now at 30. So do you know what? Let's go to a scouting assignment. I'm going to have to move a little bit of the budget over, actually, before we can do that. But I'm just going to get everyone scouting a goalkeeper, I think. I keep trying to sell Segrist and he keeps refusing to leave, exactly. Yeah, John, that was a strange link as well, wasn't it? Nicky Butt to Derby as a coach. I know the obvious link because Rooney was a United player, but I don't think they were there together that long, if at all, because Nicky Butt was at Newcastle by the mid to late 2000s, wasn't he? So they can't have overlapped that much. But I don't know, it'll be really interesting. He must have a move lined up because otherwise he wouldn't have made that change. Right, goalkeeper. Ideally, I'd like a sweeper keeper, so let's go and scout for that. We want 3.5 ability. Don't care about potential. It can be a 28-year-old, I don't mind. 2 weeks, high priority. Get everyone out there. If we go to the scout report, we can go and put back on our UK and Ireland scouting. Let's really go and push for it. Find a good keeper somewhere from the Championship maybe. But then in England, the wages are too high generally, which is the problem we find most of the time. It's quite a frustrating dilemma to be in. And this is the problem. Again, Mark mentioned it earlier. If you want to get those big players from England, you can't get the... I don't know, you can't really find the quality without the wages. I wonder if we can scout the whole of Europe. And then if we go into the club vision, let's try and get some wonder kids from across the world. Oh, so the scouting range must be as big as it needs to be now. Let's just go all out. Let's put loads of our money into our scouting range and try and find players from Europe rather than England. Because when you go to the likes of, I mean, Croatia's a great example earlier at Dinamo, the teams like that, they're on lower wages to start with. But this game is arguably, in terms of our goals for the season, is still our biggest game. Because Aberdeen currently occupy third. They're 2 points above us. If we win this game, we're back in charge of that race. I know it's a boring aim to have. I mean, technically, we could still be in a title race. But I think that's quite unlikely at this point. I'd do anything just to nick second. Champions League football and budgets for a year. But I don't think that's going to happen, unfortunately. Thank you to everybody coming in. Lovely to have you all here this morning. A big thank you to Greenie again for the super chat earlier on. It does make a massive difference to the channel. I did mention earlier as well, we've got a link to the Twitch channel in the chat somewhere. I'll go and pin the message so you can find it easier. I'm going to try over the Easter weekend at some point. I've got 6 days off. The 4 for the bank holiday and the 1 either side. So I'm going to try a stream there at some point. I think I'm trying to do it so the stars align in terms of dates. The Tuesday after bank holiday, which is the 6th of April, I think, we might be able to do a head coach transfer window special, which was the first ever live stream I did about that time last year, and I absolutely loved it. So those of you following the head coach, it could be a very special episode that day. And of course, with Dundee United, it will mean double live stream. Probably one on Twitch, one on YouTube, or I might just simulcast them, so you can see both on the head coach. Right, how long have we got break after this? Only 3 days, so I'm not going to put anyone in the reserves. But let's see what we can do, eh? Fingers crossed, it'll be a superstar one. We've got to get a result. We've got to get the first 11 back in. But which one should be the first 11 now, I guess is the main question. Oh, we've got the under-18s in, so it's gone and picked a reserve side. It's all going wrong this morning. Right, let's go and do it. Fingers crossed we can get some form of positive result here. What lineup have they gone for? So I'm thinking, do we replace Kerr with Finley again? Because he bottled it in the cup final. It's gone to 4-4-2 for some reason. Why has it done that? Can we change that to our number 1 tactic? Or make default? Set as primary tactic. There we go. So, a lot of changes need to be made to this side to get it back to what it would be. Stevie Mallon is going to stay in, I think. Ali McCann is out. He's going to be on the bench. Right, I've made the decision. Xander Clark's going back in goal. Dehaney's going to be on the bench for Morgan Boys. Kerr's there as well. I think aside from that, we're largely as strong as we can be. I'm trying to work out who's missing to have Nielsen on the bench. Oh, Mikey Johnston, who's not fit. Everything else is as good as it can be. So let's go and get into this game. My hair's all over the place now. I do apologise for it. But let's go and get into it. Dundee United v Aberdeen. And this is crucial in the race for third. I say it's crucial rather than the most important. Because if we win this and then lose to Hibs, we're back to square one. Mark, next year's edition will be Women's Super League, etc. I'm guessing. Save Miles will get an abuse. But he has addressed it pretty honestly in the past, which is just the affordability of it. But I guess with them now getting the big TV deal, you're possibly right. But I guess if there's only then the Women's Super League and then a few other leagues, is it going to be great? I'd rather them leave it. And I'm sure many people who actually support the women's game would rather wait an extra year and get a really extensive version. Because I fear if we get to 2023's FM edition, it could be a really big part of the game and a really well extensive one. But I don't think Miles is the sort of person who would want to put something in half-heartedly, which is all he'll be able to do at this short notice. And particularly with a pandemic where you can't go and research and scout and watch people, it's okay sort of in the male game at the moment because they've already got a base of attributes for most players. To have to try and do that for everyone would be difficult. So I'd like to see them do it a year later, but really properly then. It's something I'd be interested in. As the ball comes out to Brooklyn early on, we've got to get on top early here. It's switched to the left to Mitchell. Watch how now it's not a big cup final. They're suddenly not nervous at all. O'Reilly in particular, who nearly scores there. Is that not a corner? He laid on the floor. That ball was at least 3 yards behind the line. The ball's cleared long downfield, but it's Aberdeen who are now on the front foot. And it's McCrory, one of our main transfer targets, on the ball. Back to Owen in centre half position, Hanlon down the left to Hedges, gets towards the byline. Out wide to Stephen Kingsley. Chance to cross into the box. They're up there, McGregor. And Xander Clark makes a good save. Holds it as well. Excellent goalkeeping. But yeah, I'll tell you what, Markenden, you've suggested something brilliant, actually. I'd love to see it. Club level. Add in managing under 23s or reserve sides. Be a real good step up. And Mockery scored a cracking goal there. That's a wonderful finish. But could you imagine that would add a new element, wouldn't it? The decision from sort of, say you're at a National League club in England, and then you've got either a step up to League 2 or to a Premier League under 23s. You've got to weigh up the financial elements. You've got to weigh up the progression towards the first team at those clubs. It could be a really interesting addition. And maybe it's more likely to happen now that a lot of assistants and youth managers are getting promoted more. We'll wait and see. Thank you to everybody coming in as well. Thank you again to Greenie for the super chat. And to Dylan for the one in midweek as well. They do make a difference. And thank you everyone for making the chat so active. I've appreciated your moral support as we bottled it in the biggest game before going back to winning ways in all of the less important ones. But this is why third is our limit in the Scottish Premiership, because we bottle it in the big trophy finals. And that was a real chance to increase our reputation. As Mockery gets it on the edge, good save by Prieto. He's probably the best goalkeeper we've been linked with, the Aberdeen number one. But I think it was before he went to Aberdeen. We will go and scout him again after, because he's a good keeper. But he's not a big step up from Xander Clark. As he gets the ball in goal, switches it right to Dembele. Comes over halfway, cuts inside, no pressure on him. Finds Mockery on the left, who's having his best game in a long time. Chance to cross, cuts it back to Mitchell. Into the box, O'Reilly's there. And he's missed another one. Really is bottling it since the cup final. Dylan, you could scrap the series and make a team full of subscribers to go to the National League. It's something I've thought about in the future. I know a lot of the bigger YouTubers do it. It's giving the youth players, the best youth players, to subscribers and things like that. It's something I've thought about. The other thing, I know it's mentioned a couple of times in here, that I've thought about is where on the podcast channel we've interviewed about 30 current pros probably. We were going to do a series with them in the bottom league and see how far we could take them. But I think the problem with that is all of the goalkeepers we keep trying to interview either cancel or don't work out for whatever reason. So if we can get a goalkeeper, I think we can do it. But we've been waiting on that for about 4 or 5 months. As O'Reilly finds Dembele edge of the box, beats his man. Oh, straight at the keeper. Had to make it too. Really had to. Dylan, who do you think will be the Celtic captain next season? If he's still there, probably Christopher Ayer, I think might be. If not, Callum McGregor probably is the most obvious candidate. Been there longer, a bit more experience now. But it depends on who the manager is. Because if it's Roy Keane, he'll have in a bullish centre midfielder to replace Scott Brown, who's going to be skipper. But it's a really interesting move for the Scottish League. The Stephen Glass, Scott Brown combo. Just reminds me of Hibs on FIFA Manager 06. They were unbelievable in that game before the old firm bought their whole team. Kevin Thompson, Scott Brown, Stephen Whittaker, Derek Riordan, young player. Stephen Naismith was there, I think. There's some absolute crackers. That wasn't Stephen Naismith, was it? But there were some brilliant players in that team. Ivan Sproul was electric quick. Right, let's make some changes, shall we? O'Reilly's missed a lot of chances, so Holsgrove on for him. Watson for Dembele, who's got in those positions but not scored them. And Robertson replaced by Ali McCann. 27 minutes to go. We lead 1-0 in this crucial game in the league. And we're now level on points with Rangers with the game in hand as it stands. I'll give my mate Joe Bestwick a ring. You can interview him. He plays for Chester. Does he now? That'd be a good one. We like doing the sort of National League and North and South ones. We did one yesterday with Steve Foster, who's the Leyton Orient chief scout. It was a really interesting interview because it's just something we've never sort of talked about before. It's the same as when we did the Linfield chairman, just getting those different areas of the game covered. It's really fascinating insight. And you see how realistic FM is to an extent. But the one coming out next week is with Michael Spillane, who was part of that Luton Johnston Paint Trophy win, which always will be a hero as a result of that for me. So really fascinating talking about his time at Luton. And of course he played for Norwich in the League One promotion season. It was interesting because he was playing under Paul Lambert when he was one of the hottest young managers in the UK. It was quite interesting to see how he talked about him, to be honest. But yeah, definitely, we'll be up for that. Let's have a look for him. I'm going to go and look him up. Because the name slightly rings a bell, and I don't know why. Let's have a look. Can't keep up there. We're late on in this Aberdeen game, and we've got the result in the end. Chris Mockery's a superstar. And this is what frustrates me. How can we beat Leon and Aberdeen in massive tense games, then get to a cup final against the mid-table side and completely bottle it? Mark, thanks for reminding me what could have been with that Hib squad. I used to love it in 06, just to go any game. What a team of wonder kids, essentially. But this is the problem with Scottish football, isn't it? Is then 2 or 3 went to Celtic, 2 or 3 went to Rangers, and 1 or 2 went down south. If for 2 years they could have kept hold of that squad, they would have competed. The same with Aberdeen and Motherwell a few years ago. They hadn't lost the stars, they could have competed. Dylan, only a scholar. Played 1 game for the under-18s. It's interesting because if you look at some of our interviews, one of the things we talk about the most is the youth football experience. It's something that really gets undervalued and the sort of off-the-pitch side. And obviously it's changed a lot since when we have some of the older former pros on, and then you go to the current pros, and the difference in education, the difference in the ways the dressing room work there, the dynamics with the senior pros. It's interesting. I've always found that side of the game fascinating. Thank you to everyone coming in as well. I mean, since about 2 minutes in, we've been in double figures the whole time. Thank you to Greenie for the super chat. Thank you to everyone for the support. Oh, I've missed the Europa League draw. We're going to get a shock now because instead of seeing it live, we're just going to see who we've drawn afterwards. We'll go and look and see if it's one of the Champions League ones. I bet it is. AS Monaco are a massive club. Which competition were they in? I bet it was. It was the Champions League. They only went out because they faced Real Madrid and Borussia Dortmund. They beat Zenit comfortably both times. And I can assure you Zenit will be a better side than us. Oh, look at that team. Almost all of them on 100 grand a week. Moussa Dembele, former Celtic man up top. Lacazette's there as well. Jeez. Oh, they were resting people there. Lacazette, Marcus Alonso, Samuel Umtiti. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, Olivier Ncham, another former Celtic man. What's James Milner doing there? At 38 now? Must be ancient. It's 37. That is a wonderful side. Even Sidibe back there. So, we've got those keepers scouted now. Nick Pope wants 38 grand a week. The Swiss one that wasn't that great wants 18 grand a week. And Semper wants 38. There's no middle ground. Is there anyone we could loan in goal even? Eggleton from Leeds isn't any better. Bond from West Brom is experienced, but no better. And Gillespie at Newcastle, I know the former Motherwell man, but exactly the same. There are so few goalkeepers on a reasonable wage about here. David Murphy at left back. Yeah, he went to Birmingham, was it in the end? Birmingham and Middlesbrough I've got him aired for some reason. That's always going to be a cricket score. Yeah, it wouldn't shock me. Depends which keeper we've got in at that point. Good run while it lasted. Yeah, absolutely. I think it tells us we've probably got to keep our eyes on the other jobs that pop up. But now we have got Hibernian. We've spoken enough about them. We might not be able to squeeze the Hibs game in here. But squib the Celtic game in, sorry, at the end. But if we're looking for another job, that might not be the priority. Blackburn. That's an interesting one. Flynn Downs is a key player. Had a brief stint at Luton on loan in the past. How long's he out injured? Only 1 to 4 days. They've got some good players. Target. Lenihan we've had. He was at the head coach at Derby with us. George Edmondson, the former man of Rangers, obviously. That's one that appeals to me, but they're a 3-star club and we're a 1.5-star manager. So I guess to get a barometer, we'll apply for it to see whereabouts we stand in the football world. But I don't think we're going to get it somehow. Thank you to everyone coming in. Fingers crossed it won't be an absolute disaster. Once we get there, I mean, if we get to Monaco, that is, we probably will get beaten quite heavily. Of course, we're playing Hibs, so Paul Smith is going to be unavailable again. Oh, 18-year-old Brazilian centre-half. No compensation. I mean, it's worth a punt, isn't it? We're certainly not going to complain about it. I wonder how many more of them have been scouted already. Squad player. He wants a fairly big wage, but he's not breaking our wage structure, and that's all we've really got to worry about at the minute. As long as it's reasonable, it doesn't really matter. We're going to up it to $3,000 a week, so I think he'll reject it otherwise. So let's go 3.2. We're just going to drop everything slightly. We don't want to have the additional fees. There we go. So we could have a young Brazilian wonder kid centre-half come in. Not got the right personality, but we can work on that. And the rest of it seems to be there. So now we've got the worldwide scouting on. Let's go and have a look at the reports. Have we had any gems so far? Let's go and have a look at the scout for transfer. I don't think there's any others, to be brutally honest. If we go into the centre, there's no more reports. And have they found any goalkeepers yet? Because we set that up a fair few days ago now. Who's scouting a goalkeeper? No reports for all three of them. It's ridiculous. We've got 3 excellent scouts working on it and none of them have found anyone. Segrist can't do the job against Hamilton. Imagine him against full internationals. To be fair, Andrew Winter's not far off that level. He's unbelievable up there. But the rest of them, it's a one-man team, but they still beat us. I'm a little bit concerned about this. Depending on time, it might be the last game of the morning. I think it will. I mean, I'm sure the Celtic one off camera won't matter. We're going to get beat. Everyone else only a medium match load, but a couple a bit tired. So Malin out for McCann and Mockery out for Mikey Johnston if he's fit. Yeah. So Mockery will be on the bench because he was a superstar in the last game. And then Glenn Ray will come on to give us a centre midfield option. But there it is. Xander Clark continues in goal. A couple of enforced changes due to fitness issues. And Hibernian we have to beat because if we win against Aberdeen and then drop points against lower sides, it becomes irrelevant, doesn't it? Not many originals for Hibs, but they have got the former Aberdeen manager, Derek McInnes. But obviously don't forget, they got relegated first season, then came back up, then got into Europe, and now they're back here. Apologies for the chair noises. They're suggesting we're going to they're going to park the bus. So let's see how we get on. A very interesting tactic for them as well, which we often struggle with. Ryan, good morning. Thank you for popping in. Lovely to see another one of you in the comments. Unfortunately, you did miss the heartbreak at the start of the episode. But aside from that, it's been pretty good results-wise. But the frustration of having the same ceiling with Dundee United is becoming a problem here. We just can't break the old firm. As Johnston picks it up on the left-hand side to McCann. Thank you to everybody coming in. If you haven't yet, please do chuck a thumbs up on it. Thank you to Greenie for the super chat as always. As we go into Shankland, blocked the first time. It luckily falls for the keeper. Otherwise, that could have been 1-0. Tyrick Mitchell's got a cut hand. It's not going to affect the football, is it? As it's a free kick for O'Reilly. Out by the corner flag. Headed away to Johnston. Edge of the box on the volley. Just wide of the post. Lovely effort in the end. Didn't quite make it though. Let's see how we're going to get on here because I'm not quite sure that we've got what it takes. 5 minutes to half time. We've had the better of the game, but again, not a huge amount happening. And I think we just have to accept that it might be 0-0 as O'Reilly puts the corner in. They said they were going to park the bus. Well, now they're counter-attacking us and they could yet nick a 1-0. Our former player, Liam Smith, surging down the wing. The fullback gets to the byline and he's got a chance to cross. Good challenge by Mikey Johnston. Tracked him every inch of the way in fairness. Out to O'Reilly in the middle. Through ball to Shankland. He's in one-on-one. Has to score. Doesn't. Straight at Rogers, the keeper. It's becoming frustrating. I might go and look and see who Celtic and Rangers' backup keeper is. Just see if they're any better. Offer them a swap for Segrist. As the ball falls to O'Reilly on the left from the corner. Into Johnston. Back to Ali McCann. And his shot's wide and wayward. Few frustrations here. Mikey Johnston's got a knock apparently as well. We might bring Mockery on late on, but it's a good chance for us to win, a good chance for us to wrap up third. Kevin Nisbet's on for them. Where's he playing? On the right wing. They've gone 5-4-1. It seems that sides are able to park the bus pretty well against us. We're not able to deal with the 5-4-1. So that might be a problem we've got to address later on. Teams adapt into our tactic pretty well. O'Reilly's nervous, never shines in the big games, so on will come Holsgrove. Mockery, although tired on the left for Johnston, who's not played well. Brookings nervous at right back, but he's not really getting tested. So let's do Dembele for Watson. All of the attacking midfield free changed, and let's hope that leads to a bit of extra creativity and a bit of extra fitness. Jacob, career-ending injury. Need to take him off. A cut hand could send him to the sidelines for the season. Dundee United only have 2 more games in Europe this season. No doubt about that. As Mengi heads over the bar, another good chance gone. Seeing as you don't have much time to play for, why not give a lot of game time to your youth players in the league? I mean, bar Milligan and Dunn, we haven't got many good ones. There's only 2 or 3 real stars now. Mockery was the other one from the academy, but as it is, he's been sold off and he's only back here on loan. So it's a 1-0, it's a 0-0 draw, sorry. Another bit of frustration. We're just going back into one of those runs. It may affect your team's morale. Yeah, that's the problem. I'm not against giving youngsters a go. I normally prefer to do it from the bench at the hour mark. I'm sure you guys have seen that with Bangor City, but we might be forced to now because Holsgrove's out for a couple of months. Mengi and Brooking are looking jaded. Although the Scottish winter break must be coming up soon. So how many games have we got to go? Is it after Celtic? Oh no, there's 4 more games. So they're all clustered together. And they're 4 hard games as well. Doesn't look good, does it? Let's go and have a look at where we've got job opportunities. We will leave it after this game, but I just want to see if there's another chance to get a job. We've applied for the Blackburn one, of course. So let's just skip ahead to Celtic in midweek. We're not going to play the game, but I want to see if anything comes out of that Blackburn application. Because it will give us an indicator of roughly where we are. I don't think many other sides will have played in midweek, so probably the manager jobs aren't going to creep up. Not at this stage anyway. We'll certainly keep looking. No, nothing else available yet. I always forget that Hamilton's the fountain of youth stadium. Absolutely brilliant. Thank you to everybody popping in and sticking with it as well. Lovely to have you all here as always. I do appreciate your support and continuing to watch this series. We're 35 episodes in and we've spent the whole stream in double figures. We've had a super chat as well from Greenie. It's all been great. So thank you all for coming in as always. Oh, you've got to be joking. And now we're starting to have an injury crisis. Holsgrove out for 6 weeks. Robertson out for 7. I think all the signs are screaming at us to get out now, aren't they? Everything is shouting at us and saying, get away while you can. But unfortunately, it's not as easy as that with our reputation. Especially after we bottled the cup final. And we've got a European draw that's going to stop us getting any further. Aberdeen back up to 3rd, of course, because we dropped points against Hibs. And with Celtic and Rangers 2 of our next 4 games, that isn't going to get much better. Hamilton away, we know are the bogey side. And Motherwell in between, the lads are going to be shattered. So, what do we do? The young Brazilian centre-half has agreed to join us. So there's one positive, I guess. I wonder if we go to our scouting again, we'll have a quick look for a goalkeeper again. I'm just going to have a look through these because we've got to try and find some talent. Billy Gilmore's on the loan list, but they want too much wage. And that's a problem with a lot of the English sides. There's no goalkeepers here. It's the only thing we're scouting for heavily. And we just can't get one. Nathan Trott's 2-star ability. I don't get it. What are these scout priorities for? What are the assignments for? No goalkeepers have been found. There must be such a shortage of quality goalkeepers across the world. Let's go and change the recruitment package to the world. I know that it means we'll probably have to change more of our transfer budget over. But we've got to find a way to get quality talent in. It's going to be awful otherwise. These are the bits that are the hardest, is trying to improve. And this is where it becomes a problem trying to break the old firm. Should we desperately look at the paper rumours to see if there's anybody about there? That young Celtic striker's unbelievable. We're going to scout him again. In terms of their goalkeepers, Celtic and Rangers, they've got a first choice there who's very good. But even their backup keeper, if we go and find the current one, he's on £4,000 a week and he's not very good. So let's go and check Rangers just in case it's any better. But normally if they're good enough, they're then on too big a wage. So Rangers' backup keeper is Barkas, the former Celtic man. He's still on £11,000 a week, which doesn't really help us. But we will scout him just to see if we can nick him. And their main goalkeeper's on £70,000 a week. I mean, it's a different stratosphere, isn't it, really? Jack, can you get a top English side as a parent club? So we got an offer to try and get a parent club at the start of the save, but they didn't find anyone. Currently, we've got Nice in France. But they've not got any real goalkeepers. All of their quality players are in other positions, ironically. Let's go and have a look at... Should we look at their second team and the 19s? Because they might have a few youngsters. But they're all players moving forward rather than defensively. There's a couple of very good ones that may benefit us. But no keepers, which is a problem. I might go and ask for another parent club, though, because we've now reached that game. So let's make that the last thing of the day. We're going to ask for a senior affiliate. But the fact it hasn't happened immediately suggests we're going to get questioned and it'll probably get rejected to start with. But this is where the quandary comes. I'm going to have one last look at the scout reports as we've now reached the Celtic match. But I don't think it's going to happen, I'm afraid. It's not. There is nobody there of that level of quality that won't join for less than £40,000 a week. I'm going to have one last go at the director of football, but he's going to suggest the same names on massive money. I know it. Oh, he's not. Oh, Christian Walton, another former Luton loan hero. It will break our wage structure, but it's more manageable. I like that one. Jesse Joranen's not as good and is worth more. If we can find a way to get Christian Walton, we might have a problem. 1.9 million to clubs in a continental competition. Let's just get the bid in, shall we? It's accepted. We have got potentially a better goalkeeper coming in. We've ended on a high at last. We'll find out on Tuesday whether he joins the club, whether we get that luck with him. Let me very quickly look at the schedule for when we're next going to be back. I think the 4 games there we're not going to get many points from. So what we'll do then is we'll play those 4. We'll go through the winter break. And then on Tuesday, we'll be back for the Scottish Cup game against Rangers to see if we can produce anything better. The other 3 in the transfer window. And then, of course, the end of the January transfer window. That, of course, unless we get a job interview at Blackburn or something spectacular in between. But I highly doubt that's going to happen. Let's be brutally honest. But on reflection, a decent run of form. But look at that. The one game we've conceded more than 1 goal in the last 2 months. And it's the Scottish League Cup final. Benji Siegrist turned up with a stinker on the biggest possible stage. And there you go. There's our limitation as a football club. We can't compete with the old firm. But thank you so much for spending your morning with me. Thank you for keeping us along with the double figures. Throughout the whole stream, it's been brilliant. Thank you for all the thumbs up. Thank you for all the support in the chat. And of course, thank you to everyone for being involved, for watching the videos as always. And to make sure you check out the Twitch link in the live chat. It's pinned message, so you can go and find out when we're going to be doing our test stream over the Easter weekend. Hopefully a head coach special. But thank you everyone for being involved. Thank you again, Greenie, for the super chat. Dylan, yeah, Wigan beat a save return with Spurs in the Championship. I did carry it on off camera. I'm about half the way through the second season there. And I've also got another mobile series on the go. So there are options if the worst happens. But thank you everyone for being involved. Thank you for your support as always. We'll be back with this one on Tuesday. But there's 2 massive videos from our long-term stories this weekend. And I hope you enjoy them as always. Thanks for watching. And I'll see you on Tuesday.